Okay, they're carrot bars because you're not in link crew. Our objective today is to solve trigonometric equations. And this is something that people generally like, they gravitate towards, it goes well for them. Today should be a very good day. Let me show you how simple it is to start off. We want to solve for theta, and there's an infinite number of solutions for theta. But more specifically, we want to solve for theta in, that's the symbol for in, so we just want to find between 0 and 360 or 0 and 2 pi. We're going to work with degrees. It's going to be a lot easier for you guys today. So that's all we want to do. And we start this. What do you think we do to start this equation? Start solving this. Yeah, we add 1. We get 2 sine of theta is equal to -1. Then what do you think we do? Divide by 2. Sine of theta is equal to -1/2. So now we pause and we think about where sine is negative between 0 and 360. Namely, if you consider the quadrants, where is sine negative? Which quadrant? Bottom 2. It's negative down there. And if I go to my calculator and I'm working in degrees, right now I'm in radians, I'm going to switch over to degrees, and I do sine inverse, all my pencils are gone from you people stealing them. What did you just do? Oh, fire wire, pants on fire. -1 divided by 2. Sine inverse of -1/2 is -30 degrees. Very good. So Alex sees what's going on here. A -30-degree angle would be just like that, correct? Here's the trick. You have to then find the reference angle. The reference angle is the acute angle formed between the terminal side and the x-axis. So if this is -30, okay, oh, smartboard's being dumb. Hold on. Okay. If this is -30 degrees, tell me, what is the measure of this acute angle? 30. And you will have another one right over on this side because it's also negative over there. In fact, if you look at your graphic organizer on this sheet, you can see that sine is equal to -1/2 where? 210 and 330. Sine, not cosine. Sine is equal to -1/2 at 210 and 330. Well, look, what's 30 degrees past 180? 210. What's 30 degrees behind 360? 330. So we found our two solutions. Well, you're 30 degrees past 180 right here, right? Minus 30, yep. It's always going to be 180 minus or 180 plus. It'll always be, say 360 minus or 0 plus. Let's do a couple more together. Let's do number 3 together. What do I do first? Minus the 5, I get negative 6 times the tangent of theta is equal to negative 2. I divide by negative 6. I get tangent of theta is equal to 1/3. Positive 1/3. Where is tangent positive? First quadrant, third quadrant. I take out my calculator. I go tangent inverse of 1/3 for 0.33. I shouldn't do that. I should just type in the 1/3. 1 divided by 3. I can do that. And we get 18.43. So what's my first? The biggest mistake is that people don't draw it. It's got to be between the x-axis and the terminal side of the angle. So you can't put the number here. You can't put the number there. That'll make it between the y-axis and the terminal side. Devin? Up here? Because tangent is positive in the third and the first quadrants. So what's my first answer? 18.43 degrees. What's my other answer? Yep. Let's try one more together. Let's try 7. What makes 7 different? Okay, what else? It's secant. It's an inverse function. Yeah. Or it's a reciprocal function, excuse me. (180 plus 18.43). 180 degrees is right here. And I'm 18.43 degrees past 180. Watch. If you type it in, negative 6 times the tangent of 198.43 plus 5, you get 3. It's a solution. That's another solution. There's 2 of them because tangent is positive in 2 quadrants. Okay, so as we do this one, we divide both sides by 5. And you get secant of theta is equal to negative 9 over 5. We don't have an arc secant button on our calculator. So instead what we do is we change it to what? Cosine of theta is equal to negative 5 over 9. Which quadrants is cosine negative in? 2 and 3. It's positive in 1 and 4. It's negative in 2 and 3. So I take out my calculator and I do cosine inverse of negative 5 divided by 9. And I get 123.75. So I'll draw that angle. 123.75 puts me right there. True or false? 123.75 is the measure of my reference angle. False. What's the measure of this reference angle right here? What'd you get? How'd you get that? Yeah, because you need to find, that reference angle by subtracting from 180. So I have another spot in the third quadrant, which also has a measure of 56.25 for the reference angle. So what is my first solution going to be? 123.75. The reference angle helps me find this one right here. We need to define this reference angle in order to get the one in the third quadrant. My second quadrant angle is 123.75. 180 minus 123.75 gave me this reference angle. If you tell me that you're going to use 56.25, what quadrant is 56.25 in? The first. That is not one of our solution spots. 180 plus 56.25 would give us the one in the third quadrant. 180 plus 56.25 is so cosine's a little bit different like that. Cosine can give you a result that's bigger than 90. And that was because of what we looked at yesterday with our arc cosine stuff. So number 4, we could do number 4. What do you do first? Add 3. So negative tangent of theta is equal to 5. Divide by negative 1. Tangent of theta is equal to negative 5. What quadrants is tangent negative in? So I'm looking for a second quadrant and a fourth quadrant. So on my calculator, I do second tan, so tan inverse of negative 5. And I got negative 78.69. So if I want to draw negative 78.69, where do I go? Down. So that means that this amount is 78.69. And that this amount here would be 78.69. So let's start in the second quadrant. How would I find that angle in the second quadrant? 180 minus 78.69, which is what? 101.31. And how would I find the angle in the fourth quadrant? What's 360 minus 78.69? Like number 5? Sure. We'll do 2 more together, and then I'm going to have you start working on your own, and I'm going to have you guys go ahead and um, try a few of these problems and put answers on the board. But why don't you help me out here, Whitney? What do I do first? Minus 2, so I get 7 cosecant theta is equal to negative 11. Then what? So cosecant of theta is equal to negative 11 over 7. Then what? Sine of theta would then be negative 7 over 11. So I'm looking for where sine is negative. Which quadrants? 3 and 4. Grab my calculator. Sine inverse, -7 divided by 11. -39.52. So how do I locate that? Where do I go? Down. 39.52 would be that. So I do 180 plus 39.52 and 18 or at 360 minus 39.52. Do you have those answers for me? Is that right? 219.52 and 320.48. Okay, let's try just one more. Let's look at 9. What makes 9 different? For 9, you have stuff on both sides. Not that much different. We'll just subtract 7 cosine of theta from both sides. And I will have -9 cosine of theta. Plus 9 is equal to -2. Now what? -9 cosine of theta is equal to -11 divided by -9. Cosine of theta is equal to 11 over 9. So that's positive. Where's cosine positive? It's the fourth. Cosine inverse of 11 divided by 9. Alex, why do I get a domain here? It's no, not because it's bigger than 360, because 11 over 9 is bigger than 1. Remember, cosine and sine can only take on values between +1 and -1. Now, everybody just stop what you're doing and watch this so you can appreciate, this kind of part of mathematics. But if I take both of these equations and I type them in, look, it says -2 cosine of theta plus 9. That's going to be one equation, and I'm looking for where it's equal to 7 cosine of theta minus 2. So I'm looking, where are those two equations equal to each other? And if I were to graph them, whoop, I got to be in radians to graph it for it to look right. Try again. So there's my first one. There's my second one. What do you notice? They never cross. That's why we don't have any solutions. So that's truly what you're doing when you're solving this stuff is you're finding where the graphs cross each other. And this would be an example where they don't. So we find that because we come up with cosine theta is 11 over 9. So some people said the answer is undefined. The correct response would be no solution. I think that we've done enough examples where you guys can make some hay out of this. Go ahead. 2, 6, 8, 10. You could work through 14. And then by the end of the hour, I would like to do 15 and 18 with you as well. I'm going to pause the video and you guys can ask questions. I'd like to go over 16 and 18 actually with you right now. Not 15. 15 you'll get, no problem. What do we do to 16? What do we do to both sides? So 3 secant squared of theta is equal to 11. 16. So secant squared theta is equal to 11/3. So all I did was subtract the 1, divide by the 3. What should I do now? Switch it to cosine. So cosine squared theta is equal to 3 over 11. So what makes this problem different than the others? It's got a square. So all I do is I square root. So the cosine of theta is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3 over 11. Stop right there. Some people started putting that in simplest radical form. Don't really need to do that. No, not done. Just pausing. Where is cosine positive? 1 and 4. Where is it negative? 2 and 3. So we have 4 solutions here. And it's not that much different. All I do is I take my calculator and I go cosine inverse of square root 3 divided by 11. And need to work in degrees. 58.52. So got a bunch of angles. And the first one was 58.52. That's what it gave me. Okay, so that'll put me at that position. That's the measure of my first reference angle. 58.52 over here. So what's my first solution then? 58.52. Find the second one, I would subtract it from 180, right? 121.48. Find the third one, I would add it to 180. To 38.52. And the last one, I would subtract it from 360. 301.48. So I have 4 solutions. Yeah? When you do 18, it's very similar. Except, what makes 18 different from the previous problem? There's another tan. Anybody see what I do? Factor out a tangent. Tangent of theta times 2 tangent of theta plus 1 is equal to 0. So now I take both of these expressions and set them equal to 0. Tangent of theta equals 0, and 2 tangent of theta plus 1 equals 0. Well, this one's already solved for 0. And if I do tangent inverse of 0, I get 0. So I guess that's 0 degrees and 360 degrees. If I solve this one, I subtract the 1, and I divide by the 2 to get tangent of theta is equal to negative 1/2. Where is tangent negative? Second and fourth. Go by calculator. Tangent inverse, negative 1 over 2. Negative 26.57. So I guess that gave me the angle in the fourth quadrant because it was negative. So I go down. The other one will be up here. 180 minus 26.57, 153.43, and 360 minus 26.57. Let's see, 133.43 degrees. So I had 4 solutions there as well. Yeah, so I think that we're gonna pick up with this on Monday again, and I would encourage you to if you can work on any problems previous to 18 for Monday. Obviously at the very end you're gonna have the whole worksheet done. So, but this is the last content we're learning for our test. We're gonna continue to factor. We'll factor using the trinomials. We'll even use the quadratic formula. We'll substitute different expressions in. But then our goal will be test next Friday. What's that? Next week will be more practice with this with a decent amount of review.